let's develop our first smart contract for our yield farming app that we're going to be using in order to store our tether. So remember that this is a yield farming application in the sense that we're going to create an application that's this digital bank. So what we're going to do is we're going to have some tether. So when you use the app, you have about a balance of a certain amount of tether that the customer gets to use or the investor gets to use, and then they can stake. They can deposit it into our bank. They take that amount that they have, they could deposit it, and when they deposit it into our bank, we give them a reward. We reward them for depositing it. Okay, and this is a very common type of functionality in tokens with DeFi and yield farming. So it's cool to kind of see how this works. And, it's also very basic in banking with interest, right? It's like a saving account. You put money in, you can create interest, return, you can create lending, rewards, all of that. So we're doing that in a decentralized form. So let's make our first contract, which will be the Tether. And remember, what is Tether? Well, as we can see here on Investopedia, Tether is basically a blockchain-based cryptocurrency whose crypto coins in circulation are backed by an equivalent amount of traditional fiat currencies, so the dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen. Okay, so what does that really mean? Well, it's basically just a stable coin, meaning that it's going to have a backing that creates it on blockchain, but it has an equivalency to what the dollar does. So it remains stable. That way it's very, very useful when it comes to trading in crypto, because if you want to keep your currency in a stable currency when you're buying and selling, let's say Bitcoin and Ethereum, having some Tether on hand or having something like DAI or a stable coin to depositing, investing, exchanging, and so Tether is generally traded under the USDT symbol. And actually, Tether is under a lot of scrutiny. But all that being said, it's Tether is still very wide. Tether is still extremely widely used in crypto. And you can trade it, on Binance, Gemini, CoinSpot, Kraken, etc., etc. Okay, so we're not actually creating real Tether here. What we're doing is creating an emulation, a version of Tether. It's sort of a mock Tether, just like what Greg did for MDAI. We're reverse engineering his app, and we're going to be just switching it up just to be fun and go with Tether instead. Okay, so what we want to do is okay, so enough with the chit chat. Let's actually start building out this contract. So what we want to do is go into our contracts folder again, and we're going to create a new file, and we're going to call this file tether camelcase.js. Oh, wait a minute. Mistake. Can you catch the mistake I just made? Well, we're building our smart contracts. So what is wrong with tether.js? Well, JavaScript, nope, is not going to cut it for what we want to do. We want Solidity. So we're going to rename the file tether.js to tether.sol. Okay, and now that we've properly named the file and the data type, what should we do first? Well, you probably guessed it. We're bringing in, oops, if I can spell it, Solidity. So our usual thing here, the uptake 5.0. All right. Oh, wait, and I just realized we do not want to be turning this into a string. We're actually typing in the language. So I'm going to remove that. And I think I actually did that in the migrations as well. So if you notice that error, you want to go back to your migrations.sol and remove the string that I had here. So let's get rid of that. Okay, so back in our tether file, tether.sol, what we want to do is create a contract. Okay, and we're going to call this tether. All right, and this is our contract tether. This is the skeleton. So what do we want to put in our tether? Well, for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to build a very basic shell. We're not going to give it really any functionality, but we're going to define some static terms for tether so that it has a little bit of personality. So we're going to give it a name, okay? And this name is going to be called tether. We're going to give it a symbol, and the symbol will be USDT, right? We are going to give it a total supply, and the total supply is going to be 18 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And I'm just going to put in a comment here, and I'm going to write 1 million tokens. Okay. And I'm going to explain that in a second because this total supply is actually 1 million. I want Tether to have 1 million tokens. But as you probably guessed, this number does not equal 1 million, right? I think there's a little too many zeros. So I'm going to explain how this works in just a second. So just bear with me for now, and we're going to get to how this actually works in Solidity. So I'm going to add also decimals. Now remember, because this is a static language, again, we have to declare what these variables are. So this is a string, right? Public tether is a string, so we're going to write string public. Sorry, tether is a string, so we're going to write string public. We're making it public so that it can be accessed by other contracts as well. We're going to do the same thing for symbol. It's a string. Now, is total supply a string? No, it's a uint. And we're going to use 256. We're also going to make it public. And we're going to also we're going to do the same thing here, uint 8. And since we're using Solidity and not JavaScript, we have to remember to put in our semicolons. Little semicolon action over here, over there. That's not going to do it because that is not JavaScript. Okay, there. Okay, so why do we see so many zeros here after the 1 if we're going to say this is 1 million tokens? Well, actually, this isn't even 1 million tokens. This is only going to be 1 token, as a matter of fact, because I only added 18 decimals. Whoa. Clarion, what are you talking about? 1 token, 1 million? Is it like a trillion? What is going on over here? Okay, well, this is actually quite simple. For example, with the US dollar, we know that when we think about the US dollar, we don't think about, oh, if you want to buy a chocolate bar, that's going to be 1,04238, whatever, blah, 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 987 with like 18 decimal places, right? We don't do that because imagine every time trying to find the exact amount of change before we had debit, etc. And just even with debit, do we really care about fractions and fractions of pennies when it comes to the US dollar? Well, the answer is no. Generally, your average retail customer and investor, no, they do not care about what's going on the 18th decimal. Maybe big corporations, that's a whole other story. But we're talking about big institutions and big corporations, that's another story. But we're talking about your average Joe over here, including myself. I do not care about this 0.00. But now, when it comes to cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, DAI, and Tether, of course, they generally do care about the decimals, and they have, Ethereum has 18 decimals. So because of that, when you talk about Ethereum in a transaction, you're going to see something like 1 ether, but 938, so forth. And these numbers actually do matter, especially when it comes to the fractionizing. Not fractionalizing, sorry, I said fractionalizing before, but this is fractionizing of the fractioning or the fractionizing, I don't know. Hopefully you get the gist of what I'm saying here. So actually, the reason why this is only 1 token is because we've added the 18 decimal places with the zeros, right? Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, 1. So if we want this to be 1 million, what should we do? How many zeros? What should we do? What should we do to this number? What do you think? Well, if you guess we should add the amount of zeros to make it equal 1 million, then you totally understand. Then you get this. Congratulations. If not, don't worry. We're going to actually see how this works when we're depositing these numbers. But yes, in effect, now if I add a 0, now we have 10 tokens. Now we have 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million tokens. Okay, and here we have our very, very basic contract, which has 0 functionality. We can't transfer anything. We can't transfer from anything. We can't approve anything. But we do have a name for our contract. We do have a total supply, and we do have a symbol for it. And we've created the decimal places, which are the fundamentals for any smart contract. So So let's go ahead and save this and actually deploy it and see if this contract is